Okay, let's mute him. Anyone else, please raise hand so that let's try with someone else. Okay, Kamran, I am going to unmute you. Yeah, Kamran, please try to speak something.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay. While I can hear your voice, there is a little bit of background disturbances. Uh,
Uh,
let's try to unmute someone else and let's see. Abid. Abid is here. Uh, Lareb. Okay, I'm unmuting Lareb. So it's just circling around and giving me a weird kind of and while it's going on, I cannot stop it as well, and I cannot unmute anyone else as well. So with one or two users it's okay, but with a lot number of users doing it one by one is probably more difficult. Even if I'm not able to unmute even a single user, then I cannot unmute anyone. Okay, so shall we begin with the class? Okay, so this was the code that we have seen in the last session, and I have actually moved the code into two different files so that I can share it with you. The test connection, the one that we tried yesterday with metadata as well, that's a separate file, and then I revoked my old original code, the test connection, which is very much simple, and all I have done is I have selected all the records from the student table and printed them one by one using the label or the column name. So now there are many other things to notice while you will try to build your projects, or you will try to have your lab programs running. Although all the programs which you see me discussing in either these lectures or the pre-recorded lectures that I have given you and I've asked you to go through, all the programs you have to try on your home as a lab exercise. I will also share a formal list of lab exercise. That's another thing, but most of them are among the lab exercise that you have already done in the classroom. So keep working on it. So let's do one thing. The table that I was connecting right now was Jamia Hamdard. As you can see, JDBC is the specification, and then MySQL is the name of the server. Then localhost is the machine, 3306 is the default port number, and Jamia Hamdard was the name of the database or the schema, and then root is the username and admin is the password for root. There could be more than one usernames. You can create any number of usernames. You can specify them with different sort of rights. As of now, I am using the root, which has got all the rights. So and the table within the Jamia Hamdard, the schema that I have selected is students table. Let's go to workbench. Let's see if we have got any other schemas as well. So you will see sys is one schema that contains one table, and then you will see there is a xyz schema that also doesn't contain any table at all. And earlier there were other two schemas that were by default imported. One was the world schema, the other was, I will show you, just I don't remember the name, I will show you where it is. So these are pre-imported schemas, and to bring world in this newer version of Workbench, what I had to do is basically I had to go to the server and I have to do a data import. So I have done a data import, and then I have to go to the folder where this world table data is available. So what I have done is default schema to be imported. Okay, import from project folder, no, import from cell content folder. Then I will go to it's in sample database. Sample database is basically, let me give you the full, you go to Windows and then program files x86 and my SQL, then just in the same folder, MySQL folder, you have connector.j and you have sample examples. Go for sample and examples. You will see sample databases. There is a World and there is a Sakila. These are the two databases. So what I have done is I just have imported this database and I have opened, and all the tables were created. The data was automatically populated. So if you like to see what is there in that SQL, so you can very easily see that, and you will realize that it's a combination of the SQL statements which basically create the table as well as populate data into it. Say for example MySQL, let me go to MySQL and then sample examples, again World, and let me open it in WordPad. Okay, you see it says drop schema if exist World. If World is already existing there, just drop it. Create a schema World, use World, make it a default, set auto commit is equal to 0, and then it is creating table city with all these fields, ID, name, country, and whatever constant it need to put on these columns. It has put the constants. So this query will run automatically when we import it, and the table will be created. The schema is already created, and then after that all the dump data, they are dumped in the form of an insert statement. So insert into city values, these all statement will run sequentially, and all the data will be populated. This is how the import works. Similarly, if I need to have my own, say, Jamia Hamdard table, and I want to save the Jamia Hamdard table, so that if I uninstall MySQL, or if I want to migrate from MySQL to Oracle database and I need to populate data over there, I will need two things. First is that I will need to create the schema, then I will need to create the tables, and then I will need to populate the data. So again, for that purpose also, what I can do is I can simply go to the server, and instead of import, I will go for data export. And you can see that I have the option for Jamia Hamdard, and then here I have to start export, and the file will be created in this particular directory under users. So you will find a file name with this name. So whenever I want to take it the whole database back live, I can import it again. So this was one of the features that will be useful for you and is good to understand. Let's go to the world database and let's try to see the city table. What is the data inside? So it's a huge table. If you wish to try it with your JDBC code, you can have this is one of the big table that contains lots of records. Similarly, country table is also there. So it's a list of all the countries with the code and what continent they are in, the region, and all those details. So these are the big tables that you can play with. Another feature that you get with using a workbench tool like this is, just like in IDE, you can reverse engineer the things. Like for example, if I go to the database, I have an option for reverse engineering, and for example, I have all the database created, and what I do is I press localhost 6306 root, and I press next, and then next again, and then you see if I select this world database as the next, and I will press next and then execute, and you will see a very beautiful thing happening. You will see the ER diagram automatically generated over here. So if you are working on a project, you have already created databases, or you don't have ER diagram in place, or you have made changes to databases from initial level, then from the final database you can always generate the documentation as well. So these are the benefits that you will get while you do the project. I'm telling you because if you are really serious about the subject, then definitely you would like to do some projects with advanced Java. Any questions till now, guys? Okay, I can see doubts. Repeat data import, Anuj Razan. Acha, okay, in the dump statement part. Okay, so these are both the same related question. Let me go again. See, import and export are the two options. Export means I want to save the state of my table, the schema name, the schema tables, and all the data along with it. So I will choose for the data export. Similarly, if I want to import a data, so as I told you that this world table was not shown in, or not pre-imported in my workbench. What I have done is, basically I went to data import, and then choose the option import from self-contained file, and instead of going to dumps, I have gone to C drive, program files, x86, then MySQL, and then sample and examples, sample databases, and then the world. This world database contains a .sql file. So .sql file are basically which could be executed, and whatever statements it have, whether it's a data definition language statements or a data manipulation language statement, every such statement will be executed, and once executed they will create the schema, the tables, as well as populate the data with DML. So this is what I have done. Hope that solves your query. Any other doubts? Okay, so shall we proceed? Okay, so for example, if I want to use this world table from my code itself, let me try it. Instead of Jamia Hamdard, I will use the world table, and let me say that I want to use world database, and let's say I want to use from the world database the country table. So the country table probably has got many columns. It has got so many columns, probably I will try to fetch the first 6 columns, because that will be easier for me, as I have already written code for the 6 columns. So instead of students, select from, what should I write? I want to use this particular table, so I should write country. Database is already written world. I'm using the same root and admin, and then instead of giving the names, let me say I am using all string, so that I don't have any problem. and instead of giving strings, I am saying serial number 1, then serial number 2, serial number 3, serial number 4, serial number 5, and then 6, the 6 records. Okay, so there are multiple records, there are many columns, but I am just trying to pick only the 6 records. Let me try to run it and see if I am getting the result. Okay, see, so okay, now okay, now let me try to do something else. Let me try to change the username. Let me change the username as say for example tester. I have created username tester, and the password for tester is tester 123. So all I am changing is I am not changing the database, I am not changing the table. All I am changing is the username and the password, and let me run it. Okay, it is working fine. So now let me do something. Let me go to user and privileges, and let me assume that tester this person has schema privileges over Jamia Hamdard. Okay, let me revoke it privileges, and let me try to run again this code, and this time you see an exception. So java.sql.sql syntax exception, access denied for user tester at localhost to database world. So basically when you are in the development mode, the developers they get a different user ID and password to connect with the database. The tester team, they get a different username and password. For example, tester may get the access only for the select operation. They may not get the access for say for example any of the update operations or the DLL operations. So you can control the privileges from your workbench. Like for example, if I want to provide the schema access, so I can choose a particular schema, and then uh, 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 allow the particular roles, particular type of operations that is permitted for that schema. So that could be done over here. So as of now, because I have revoked all the permissions, so I am not able to basically run any of the queries. So let me get back to the root and admin. So if you get any such error message, then you must understand that okay, this is because of the permission reasons. Your username is basically not having the required permission for a particular operation, or even for connect in some cases. Okay. Okay, now what do you think? See, Larab is still in a circle mode. I have tried to unmute Larab, but it's still circling around and I'm not able to unmute anyone else. So these are the typical problem where I should have an option to actually break, forcefully stop this operation and move on. Okay guys, one question for you. So this test connection, this particular class is basically in a simple Java project. It's not in a web application. It's not a dynamic web project. It's in a simple Java project. So I don't see a web content folder over here. Simple the src folder is here. So what if I want to have the same operation into my web application? What are the changes that I will require, and is any changes are required at all? So I need answer from you. What do you think, that whether I need any changes if I want to move the same code of selecting all the data from the world table of one of the table of the world database? So do I need to change anything if I move this code to a dynamic web application, or will it work? You can type your answer in the chat box. Let me repeat my question. Okay, Ali Akbar says it should work. Okay, Ali Akbar, should it work without any changes, or do I need to make some changes for it to make do the task? We will serialize result set output and return that response through the web API. Basically, the response that you create is in the form of HTML in normal cases. So unless and until you are passing a resource which is actually an object, you don't need to serialize anything. So the HTML content is already converted to a text, and that's doesn't need any kind of serialization. Rajdeep. Data will go as a part of the HTML response itself, within the HTML. So you will insert the data there. I will show you how. Any other ideas? Basically, database URL is on the server side. So your client, or the HTML code or the JSP code which is on the client side, it doesn't have to do with the database URL. It will just submit a request, and the request goes to the server. Server basically hands over the control to, say for example, your servlet, and servlet may use any of the class in between, or could directly collect to the database and then fetch the records, just like you have done right now in this plain Java code, right, in a simple Java application. So it will fetch the record, and then it will basically return the records that you have, or the data what Rajiv was asking for, the data that you have retrieved. You will place it or insert it inside HTML. The whole HTML will be embedded into response, and it will be sent back. That's it. Database URL will be there, but it will not be changed. It will be on the server side. Any other ideas? Templating engine. That depends upon you. If you want to work on some of the tools which are basically linked from UI to the server side component, that comes in a framework. So it depends. As a raw technology which simply use HTML or JSP on the front level, and a servlet or JSP at the server side, you don't require basically any separate kind of tools or such engines. that's something like you are fighting a war without much of the uh, guns. You are just barehanded unless you use a framework. Okay, let's try to see how it works in a context of a web application. So let's do one thing. Let's create a web application first. Let me say new, and I will go to other, then I will go for the dynamic web project, then next, and let me say students portal. Okay, student portal. So I'm just using 2.5. If you use 3.0, you will basically deal with annotations, and your servlet, even your servlet that is generated, that will have also an annotation that will be reflecting your URL patterns. Probably the role of web.xml is then very limited until you generate it explicitly. So that's why, because I want to always show you web.xml, so I am using 2.5. Otherwise you can go for any versions you like. So let me say finish. So students portal, this is my web application. It contains Java resources, the src folder which you are familiar with. Similarly, it contains the web content folder. The src folder contains the servlet or any other Java codes that you need. The web content folder is basically going to contain all the pages, whether the HTML or the JSP pages. That JSP you will learn soon. So let me create a servlet over here, new, and then new. Let me first create a package, say in.jh, and then let me create a servlet. And the name of the servlet, let me say it's display students record. Okay, so I have this servlet created, and then what I will do is I will bring first of all, let me remove the errors. Let me go to the Java build path and add external jars, and then let me go to my Tomcat folder, C drive, Apache Tomcat lib servlet-api.jar, then okay. So the error goes, and this is my servlet that's got empty doGet and empty doPost method. Let me bring the same Java code which I have written in test connection basic. So because I do not need the main method, I don't need this main method, so I will start copying from this position connection, and I will go till this point. Two braces I have left, one for the main method, the other for the class. I have copied this code, and let me move to display student records, and let me use, say for example, the doGet method, and here I have pasted. I don't require the main method. So this is how the code has been shifted from a plain Java project to a web application. Everything remains the same. You still have the same driver, you still have the same database name, the username and the password, the table name and the query. Everything is same. Even the catch statements are also same. So everything is same. Now to use it, let me say I want to create a web page. Let me say new HTML file, and if I give it a name index.html, that will be automatically be running. Sorry, because it's in the welcome file list. So let's say index.html. I have created index.html. Now here let me use a form tag, form, and then action. Now to find what action should I use, where should I go, where should I find, what action should I use for this servlet? Yeah, you can establish the connection in the constructor ID, because you won't like to use different connection object for each and every request. That's true. Basically, even not in the constructor, basically you create a utility which is a singleton, which is based on the singleton pattern. So this is how you control it, and not necessarily that you always control with a single object of connection. Maybe sometime you need to control with a pool of objects. So if you are using a framework, then possibly you will have the option to basically configure how many connection objects you want to be pre-created and basically ready for the number of hits which are coming. So as of now, because we are working very bare-handedly, so there is an option in the Tomcat container as well to configure the connections, but I will prefer to go with a utility that use a singleton object to control the number of objects that we are actually creating. Display student record as an action. Okay. By default, as I told you, that if you do not do anything, you create a servlet, by default the URL that is generated is with the same name as the name of the class, and the same servlet name is given. So ideally, in one of the previous classes when we were at the university, I told you that these three names must be different for the security purpose. So as of now, let me just have this. Later on you can change it. So let me go to index.html and let me say I have put this as an URL pattern in the action. Now what method should I use depending upon the code that I have written? In the form tag, what method should I use? Get. Okay, do I need to type get explicitly for HTML? Do I need to type method is equal to get explicitly for HTML? Yes or no? Okay, because for HTML get is by default. If you do not provide method, then by default the get is given the preference. So either I can say method is equal to under double quotes get, or whether I choose to skip it, it doesn't make any difference. So I can skip it also, I can just delete it and it will work. Let it be there. So now what I want to do is I want to create a input type is equal to submit button, and I want the value that need to be printed on this submit button is value is equal to show all students record. ठीक है. Now let me try to run it. And see what happens. Let me go and say run on server. Okay, in fact I am writing for students record. Okay, but the query that I have written in display student record is not actually about student but about world. So let me change it to students table. And the name of the table is student is the name of table, Jamia Hamza is the name of the schema. Hamdard. Okay, let's try to run this web application. So I need to go and run on server this time, because this is the dynamic web application. I will say run on server, then it will choose it will ask me for running it on the Tomcat. I will say finish, and let me restart the server. See, index.html has been displayed by interpreted by the browser, and it gives me the submit button that has the name show all student record. If I press on this page, it says a null pointer exception in display record Java 79. Okay, rs.close. I am getting this error because I have not added the library. The library means the connector, the driver connector that contains the driver class. So normally what I have told you, when you need to add a third party library, you will go to project properties and you go for a Java build path and add external jars. For a web application, I will not suggest you this for a web application, because it also requires to sometime deploy it from outside the Eclipse in a production environment. So always do one thing: go for, unless and until you are using Maven, go for basically connector folder. I'm going to copy this, and instead of putting it into Java build path, I will put it to the library, so it will already come to the class path. So it has come over here in the library folder. Now let me run on the server. See what happened. What has happened? Tell me. You see the output. The output has come on the console and not on the response page. The HTML written on the response page. It's not on the HTML written on the response page, because we have not written any HTML. We have not embedded any HTML on the response, right? Yeah, so basically we have used system.out.println, so the console has got the output. So we need the writer, the print writer, the instance of the print writer to basically write it. So let me go to the students record again, and instead of using the system.out.println, let me just say it's out.println. Okay, and then we will need to find out what is out. So I will go to the first line here, and let me say response dot get writer, and when I get the writer, then I will have to assign it to a variable out, and then this variable must have a type which is the print writer. So now whatever I am printing, I am not printing to system.out.println, rather the out.println, which is the instance of print writer, not within the system class. So now the content should go on the HTML response page. So let me run again. Show all records. See, the record has come, but in a very distracted form. What else we can do is we can just go to display string record, because now we are creating a HTML page. So this is the while loop. This will keep on printing each record every time. For every column we have already given the space, but for every row we have not given a new line. So out.println will not work in this case, because what we need is basically plus PR. Let me write two break rulers, it will be more visible, I think. So now it is already taken. I don't need to run as run again. So it has the changes has been taken, and it's saying the reloading content with the name student portal is completed here, as you can see. So all I can do is I can go to the HTML page. Let me run it. Okay, why it is coming two times, 1 1 2 2 3 3 so on. Oh, this is the mistake. So you have seen basically the same code could be reused with slight changes, and the changes comes from the context of a desktop application and a web application. Like in a web application, you need to print the response on the response page, so you won't use system.out.println, rather you will use out.println. Out is the instance of print writer class, which is obtained from the response object. And then the other changes that you will need to make is you have to put the connector library in the lib folder of the web application. To navigate to this particular servlet, you will also need to basically create a HTML page. It's not necessary, you can also have the option to hit directly as well. So if you use the URL directly and you choose a browser, say for example, and you choose to hit the servlet directly, you can always do that. I think BR is being printed, it's not being taken as a part of the HTML, rather it's being taken as a string. That's something that you can resolve on your own, so I will leave it to you. You may basically fix the problem. Now let's see the doubts. Neil Chauhan is asking, sir, instead of using the writer, can we use JavaScript DOM manipulation to print the response in the HTML page? See, JavaScript DOM is basically for the client side. So that basically DOM is nothing but it builds a tree structure of all the elements that you use. So if you are using anything which needs to be taken care of the client side, then only this DOM comes into picture. Otherwise, for if you are using on the server side and then DOM comes into picture only when you probably need to get the element out of something which is which fits to the DOM structure, like a XML file. You are reading XML file, then you need a DOM structure. So there are classes for it, of course, in Java as well. Libraries are there, available there. But when you are talking about JavaScript specifically, this is only on the client side. So and the code that is going to connect to the database is basically written on the server side. It's written on the servlet or a GSP. GSP is again a servlet side technology. HTML is something which is running on the browser on your own machine, right, over the internet. So how can you expect the browser to interpret a code which is going to connect something on the server? That's insecure, right? So this technology, this could not be possible. It's useful for wrangling or extraction. Ali Akbar, I don't understand what kind of extraction or wrangling you are talking about. Can you be a little more more clear on it? That is what I am talking about. See, it could be used to extract the element's value. Basically, when you write a JavaScript, you are basically working on DOM, right? So you have got an element, you have got a name or ID. You find the value with the name or ID, or any action that is being performed on that particular element by the name or ID, right? So it's something that is generated as a kind of tree structure. So you extract the element values, but that's on the client side only. It's not on the server side. So when you are dealing with JDBC and database, that means you don't need to have DOM into picture. Separate client and server. If you are willing to write a client and server in such a way that it's working on the network and the client directly interacts with database, so that would not remain a client server architecture at all. RESTful is something which works asynchronously on a very small element. So basically what you are picking again in a RESTful service is architecture or a code that is Ajax code that you write for to get the values or send a request and get the values for a particular element in a HTML, right? So you are still using DOM to basically pick up the element which is on the client side. It's another thing that you have sent a request, and instead of a normal request and response cycle, the whole of the response is replaced and the page is refreshed. Whereas in the case of Ajax, if you are using this RESTful web services, then that particular element, one element could be could be refreshed. I mean, that value could be changed. So again, you are using it for the client side only. You cannot communicate directly to the server unless and until you have a medium in between. Any other doubts? So guys, let's end up the session for today, and I will upload the recording, and I will give you a break for tomorrow. So we will meet day after tomorrow at 3:30 hopefully, and meanwhile try all this code. Okay, try these codes in the context of a web application, in the context of a desktop application, everything what you can do. Okay, so we will meet on Thursday. This week we will try to finish JDBC completely, and then from the next week onwards we will move on to the servlet part from where we left. Thank you guys, you may log off.